the reason prices are going up is because they're printing money. Okay, most people can get that. All right, so imagine if we had a kind of money that the government couldn't print. By definition, the algorithm prevents the government from printing it. And then, okay. And then they usually have some questions about, well, is it real and is it going to work and how do I, it's complicated. I mean, they're all the issues that we all encounter. And, you get all the various things. Well, I can't touch it. The gold guys say that, or you get the, and there's FUD, right? There are lots of varieties of FUD. But, those of us who have been in Bitcoin for a while, we kind of know the answer to every type of FUD.
As traditional currencies face inflation and instability, Bitcoin emerges as a decentralized alternative. Its limited supply and borderless nature offer a potential hedge against monetary chaos. However, volatility and regulatory concerns make it a risky bet. Can Bitcoin truly stabilize global economies, or is it just another speculative bubble? These questions echo sentiments shared by Lawrence Lepard, a well-known investment manager, in a recent discussion with podcaster Brandon Gentile. Lepard mirrored popular financial perspectives, including those of Robert Kiyosaki, stating that traditional finance professionals struggle to accept Bitcoin, while others readily recognize its usefulness. He anticipates Bitcoin's rise owing to its flaws in the monetary system and suggests it as a better protection than gold, corresponding with Kiyosaki's advice to diversify to other assets. Lawrence Lepard also admits that people frequently question the legitimacy and functionality of Bitcoin, but he believes that experienced users can address these concerns. He also emphasizes the quick growth of Bitcoin's network and adoption rate, noting around 1 million daily wallet downloads. Watch clips from the interview for further insights into Lawrence Lepard's interview. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more content. Enjoy the video.
I just try and walk them through, all of the monetary problems we've got and how clear it is. And then I try to explain to them that, there's a solution and this is the solution. And then, sometimes they want to go down all those other rabbit holes as well. And I'm happy to do that. But I think that, they don't have to believe that the CIA killed Kennedy to accept Bitcoin. I mean, you can kind of get to, you can get to Bitcoin. Yeah, you can get to Bitcoin pretty simply, and it's interesting too, because, you would think, I find the hardest people to orange pill are the people who are really deep in fiat and made all their money in fiat, because it runs against their beliefs. They don't like it. Yeah. Whereas, just kind of a simple cab driver, blue collar worker, they get it. They get it really quickly, right? Here's this thing that, the reason prices are going up is because they're printing money. Okay, most people can get that. All right. So imagine if we had a kind of money that the government couldn't print. By definition, the algorithm prevents the government from printing it. And then, okay. And then they usually have some questions about, well, is it real and is it going to work and how do I, it's complicated. They're all the issues that we all encounter. And, you get all the various things. Well, I can't touch it. The gold guys say that, or you get the, and there's FUD, right? There are lots of varieties of FUD. But, those of us who have been in Bitcoin for a while, we kind of know the answer to every type of FUD. Okay, it's MySpace versus Facebook. Well, yeah, and maybe it was in the beginning, but, this is so far out in front now, there's nobody's ever going to catch up with it. Do you know what I mean? Facebook's not going to get replaced. Google's not going to get replaced. It's, and the network grows every, Saylor says every addition to the network strengthens the network. And the network is growing very rapidly. I was at a meetup the other night. I'm not sure this guy had the right numbers, but if it's true, it's really quite stunning. And he said that there's some site that tracks the number of wallet downloads. I don't know how to get that information, but and worldwide wallet downloads is running something like 1 million a day now. So 365. So we're down 300 million wallets are getting downloaded a year. This is growth. So now I think at that point you'd had 3 or 4 down cycles where it'd come back. Whereas, and before I kind of thought, well, each one of these could be the bursting of the bubble, but, it just kept coming back. And so I got very comfortable after the 2017 decline to 10 and then 4 to buy more. And it just, my confidence in it kept growing. It hasn't had any problems. It's worked, 99.9% of the time. Occasionally you'll have, 2 chains that'll, go alongside each other for a block or two, and then the longer one reconciles and the other one goes away. So there've been you can't always know your transactions confirmed in 10 minutes, but I mean, it's worked. It's worked flawlessly. And so somewhere along there, and then of course seeing Saylor, who's a rocket scientist, get involved, and obviously he's very technology savvy, and for him to get comfortable with it, and it's your confidence kind of continues to grow that the technology is sound. So for me, it was always a sound technology issue, but also adoption. I mean, as adoption continued to increase, I got more and more comfortable with it. And I think now, I mean, in some ways now, I mean, some people have said that, it's actually a better bet now in the 60s with all the data we have behind us than it was, at 5 or 10 when, it was 2018 or something. And there were still issues that were unresolved, or certainly versus the 13, 14, 15, I think there were a lot of unresolved issues. It was very hard for me at that time to think, I'm going to put a ton of money into this new experimental money. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It was hard.
I agree.
But some people did, and God bless them. I mean, they did extraordinarily well.
Lawrence Lepard predicts that when the US 10-year bond yield reaches 6 to 10%, people will lose trust and sell it, leading the dollar to fall. In reaction, the Fed will impose infinite yield curve control, rapidly extending its balance sheet, raising awareness of the failing monetary system, and prompting people to seek alternative assets such as Bitcoin. He predicts Bitcoin will rise dramatically, potentially reaching $1 million, as people fear and sell dollars for assets that cannot be printed. Lawrence Lepard also discusses his positive experience with Bitcoin conferences, describing them as genuine Bitcoin events with a nice vibe and humble guests. He suggests Bitcoin as a better protection than gold, but emphasizes the significance of knowing potential volatility and being prepared for market changes. Let's go back to the interview and watch more clips to gain insights from Lawrence Lepard.
What happens when the U.S. 10-year trades at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Okay, because people aren't trusting it and they're dumping it.
Right.
Okay, and the dollar is going down, and people, the Fed says, well, this is a real problem because, we're gonna have to pay more interest on all our bonds, and the deficits are going to blow out, and so the Fed says, okay, we're coming back in with QE and yield curve control, and the amount's going to be unlimited. And and then the first couple of months, it's a big number. It's trillions and trillions, and the Fed balance sheet, which is now in the sevens. I think it went as high as 9. It's come back down. The Fed balance sheet goes to 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18. And suddenly, what'll happen is, Brennan, what I think will happen is that awareness will be spreading of what's happening here. It's like, oh my God, they have lost control of this monetary system. They cannot. There is a quote unquote, soft run on the dollar. And people don't want to hold dollar denominated bonds. People don't want to hold dollars. People are buying things that are an alternative. By the way, when all this is going on, Bitcoin's gone from 200 to 600 quickly.
Right.
And gold's at 3,000 or 4,000. So you've got those signals. So, those of us who are in the know and people who are aware of monetary economics and how it all works are like, holy shit. This currency's failing. I've seen this movie before. I've seen it in Zimbabwe. I've seen it in Venezuela. I've seen it in Weimar, Germany. And then what happens is you get into the panicking first is the right thing to do. He who panics first panics best. By panic, I mean you sell the dollar and you buy something that can't be printed, right? And of course that just makes it worse. And I'm very much like Silicon Valley. Everybody in the brother says, get me the hell out of this thing right now. And so Bitcoin goes to $1 million, and of course, a lot of people are afraid to buy it. Like, how the hell can I pay $1 million for it? Well, guess what? It's going to go to infinity in dollar terms because the dollar is going to go to zero. If you're into Bitcoin and you can afford to go to these conferences, I mean, they're very human scale, and you can meet all these people. I mean, I saw Saylor at one of the parties. He's just talking to plebes. You know what I mean? And it's like for hours. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just, there's no ego. All Bitcoiners treat other Bitcoiners with humbleness and respect. There's a lot of gold stuff there too. As you know, I came from the gold world, still in the gold world, but transitioning away from it as time goes by. I think, and in nominal terms, gold will never go down, and gold is going to protect you very well in this particular crash that I see coming. But having said that, I think Bitcoin is actually better protection. So of the two, Bitcoin really is the fastest horse. And so I tend to recommend that, I mean, if you can't stand the volatility, then gold is a great sound money choice. I recommend that everybody have some Bitcoin, and you weight it such that you can stand the volatility. I mean, I think the worst thing that can happen in Bitcoin, I've seen it happen too. People price chase it, they buy it at the top. Like, I know some people bought it at 68 the last time around, and then it went to 15 and they felt like shit. And some of them sold it, right? And
Yeah.
those of us who were in it know that was the wrong move. But if you don't really understand what you're buying and why you're buying it, that can happen to you. So, I think anytime you buy Bitcoin, you have to mentally steel yourself and realize, in terms of what percentage of your net worth it is, this could go down 50%, and I don't care. This could, because in 5 years it'll be much higher. So, but it could, in the interim, it could go down 50%, and that, you got to be prepared for that.
Lawrence Lepard's approach to promoting Bitcoin to people focuses on the current monetary challenges before presenting it as a solution. He observes that people with traditional financial backgrounds frequently struggle to accept Bitcoin. In contrast, those with little financial expertise instantly understand its value, recognizing that governments cannot generate it. This is consistent with Robert Kiyosaki's forecasts of an imminent financial calamity due to the unsustainable national debt increase, with interest payments topping $1 trillion annually. Kiyosaki's concerns about the dollar's trustworthiness, which he refers to as fake money, are consistent with Lepard's thoughts on Bitcoin's potential. Both experts advise diversifying into other assets such as gold, silver, and Bitcoin to retain value while the currency crumbles, pointing out the importance of a stable financial future. Robert Kiyosaki also warns of a hidden banking crisis, which he considers more dangerous than a regular market disaster. Unlike market disasters, which provide time for people to prepare, financial crises occur quietly and carry considerable hazards. Using Bitcoin to address the U.S. debt situation is gathering momentum, so Kiyosaki and other financial experts, such as Michael Saylor, believe it is a viable answer. Saylor expects that Bitcoin's price will reach $13 million within the next decade, and advocates argue that as institutional interest in Bitcoin rises, it will stabilize and become an important financial asset. However, Bitcoin's volatility remains a problem, and its long-term stability is unknown, prompting some to question its potential to solve the U.S. national debt crisis. The debate continues, with experts considering the benefits and drawbacks of Bitcoin as a possible solution. As we conclude, what steps are you taking to protect your financial future in light of the growing national debt and potential currency collapse? And will you consider alternative assets like Bitcoin as a safeguard? Please drop your thoughts in the comments below, share this video, and hit your thumbs on the like button. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.